What lessons can St. Kitts and Nevis learn from the electoral process in Jamaica during the recently held Jamaica elections? For political pollster and analyst Peter Wickham, efforts must be made to lessen the time the preliminary election results are announced in St. Kitts and Nevis. Jamaica, which had close to 700,000 persons who voted on election day September 3, had the preliminary results in before 10 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time. Unlike in St. Kitts and Nevis, with over 30,000 voters, full results were not known until the following day. In Constituency 8, for example, the last seat to be declared, the results were not in until Saturday night, more than 24 hours after the polls closed.
I did the election broadcast for the second time, in St. Kitts and Nevis's case, and we were up until 4 in the morning. I believe I turned in around 4 or 5 in the morning, and the results were actually concluded the next day because they had 1 or 2 recounts and so on. I've continued to say that I think this is scandalous for a country that has a voter roll that is in around 40,000 people. The problem with St. Kitts and Nevis is that you guys count centrally, and I think that has continued to be the problem, where you do your election, you have your voting. When the voting is concluded, the ballots are transported to a central location, and there they're counted. In the case of Jamaica, you count the votes where they're cast, and ultimately then you just relay the result to the central location, and it's so much easier.
Mr. Wickham also found some comparison in the Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis election results. The incumbent Jamaica Labour Party won by a landslide 49 seats to the People's National Party PNP's 14. In that result, some PNP strongholds went to the Labour Party. Some won by first-time politicians. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the incumbent Team Unity Coalition also won by a landslide, winning 9 of the 11 seats in the National Assembly. Like in Jamaica, some strongholds of the opposition fell to the coalition. St. Christopher III, which was previously held by Conris Maynard of the St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party, won by newcomer Akila Byron Nisbet. This is the first time the Labour Party lost that seat. The Nevis 11 seat, held by the NRP, the Nevis Reformation Party, for decades, was won by the Concerned Citizens Movement for the first time. Patrice Nisbet of the NRP, that held that seat for 20 years, lost to Alexis Jeffers of the Concerned Citizens Movement. Mr. Wickham said the popularity of Prime Minister Andrew Holness in Jamaica was instrumental in the JLP's big win, and the same could be applied for Dr. Timothy Harris and Team Unity's victory.
Well, Prime Minister Harris had a bonus. I think those factors are clear because certainly the polls that we did show that he was more popular than Denzel Douglas. But I think the bonus was essentially the fact that there was this large overseas vote that was locked out, large overseas vote that was clearly breaking more heavily for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And the other point was that he was fighting against Dr. Douglas, who is a leader that I think that Kittitians had pretty much had enough of for a while. And the fact that he was presenting himself again made it easy for Dr. Harris. So I think Dr. Harris had the Holness benefits. In addition to that, he also had some other benefits, like the fact that he's running against a known adversary that was beaten in the past, and secondly, that he is operating without the benefit of a very St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party inclined party support overseas vote.
Prime Minister Harris, in a congratulatory letter to Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness, said, quote, "This victory speaks volume not only for your party's mettle, but also for the confidence and the faith the Jamaican people continue to place in your government. The victory for the JLP is its biggest since the 1980s. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.